Hey everybody, this is Jason Roberts. I'm super excited to share something with you guys today that is near and dear to my heart. I love everything marketing. I love everything lead gen. I love everything, taking us from where we're at to where we're trying to go. And today I've got a good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, a real estate expert, Ed Kowalski. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, good to see you. I want to, you've got an impressive track record, man. I mean, you went from nothing to consistently over 10 million a year in revenue. You became one of the top realtors in the Northeast region with REO and all different types of real estate. I mean, from real estate investing to traditional realtor, but you've got a lot to share, man. And one of the things in all the different real estate forums that I'm a part of, everything from new agents, new realtors to seasoned realtors, one of the biggest topics of conversation is always lead gen. Like, what's the best way to get leads? And everybody's kind of like, all you really ever hear is Zillow, but nobody's ever really super happy about their Zillow leads. They're a lot of work. They're hard to convert, and then we've got all the traditional old school methods of lead gen. But before we jump in, I want to make sure that like today, we give everybody that's listening some ironclad ways to dramatically increase their sales, increase their business, increase their lead gen. Because at the end of the day, like every realtor that I've ever coached or trained, I've really focused on like, you're not just a realtor, you're a real estate marketer. And if you look at the agents that are doing 10 million plus a year, 20 million, 30 million, a big part of why they're doing that is because they've mastered lead generation. And we can spend, people can spend 23 years like you have in real estate to try to figure it out on their own, or they can listen to an expert. They can listen to somebody that's already getting the results, that's proven getting the results. And I've always had a philosophy in business that I can go around on an island by myself and try to figure it out on my own and stumble and fall. The average realtor does 2 transactions a year, or I can model somebody that's already achieving success and do what they're doing. And so let's before we jump into all that, like tell everybody that where did your journey in real estate begin? Like how did this all happen?
Okay, so back in about the year 2000, there was a tech boom, right? So
Yeah.
I went to school for electronics engineering, and I was working for a tech firm called Sienna, which was a technology telecommunications company.
Sure.
And I was a fiber optic amplifier technician, which is pretty crazy.
I was saying that
Um,
sounds complicated, man. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know that I even knew that.
yeah. So, my father worked for NASA for about 20 years, and then
Super cool.
Naval Research Lab for 20 years. So I kind of have that in me.
Yeah.
And I started, I was with the company. Things were going well. If you remember the dot-com boom,
Oh
the
yeah.
stock just kept going up and up and up, and I had a lot of stock options, right? So I
Sure.
was just riding that wave, and things were going great. And then it burst, right? So
Yeah.
I lost I lost a lot of that stock value. um uh, I had I had a um a young son at the time, newborn son, who's now in the Navy and is 23, which is just mind blowing.
Crazy.
Uh, but I had him. I had bought my first house, was just married, and lost everything. I got laid off. My wife at the time, she worked at the same company. She kept her job for a little while, but then was laid off later. But meanwhile, I was digging into real estate and mainly the investing side. And
Sure.
so I got the Carlton sheets, no money
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Lots of us did that.
VHS tapes and cassettes or whatever they were, CDs. They might have been CDs by then. So I was digging into that, and I decided, so I was getting involved with that, and then like the bottom fell out of my job. I lost my job, and I started being coached by a guy named Steve Cook. And Steve was known for wholesaling, so I was like really interested in that,
Yeah.
and got involved with.
That's how we met.
Yeah, exactly. And I got involved with Steve. Like he had flippinghomes.com,
Yeah.
and he had this manual, right? And I got the manual, and I was digging into that, and then I decided to get my real estate license, just kind of as an offshoot. I decided, yeah, let me do this and get my real estate license. So that way I have access to the MLS, I have access to deals, all these REO properties.
Yeah.
So I started out that way and was wholesaling, wholesaling from around 2003 or so. Did really well with wholesaling, probably sold, over 80 homes wholesale. And in the meantime, some of my realtor friends who I got to know through REO,
Sure.
because I was buying properties from them, they told me about BPOs. And I was like, what is a BPO? It's a broker price opinion. And you get paid $45, $30, whatever
Yep.
per deal. And I had these lags, 30 days, 60 days in between my deals closing.
Sure.
And this would give me money every week. And so I was like, I'll try it. So
Sure.
I started doing BPOs, and I ended up doing, I was doing like 100, 150 a month, something like that. But that would pay all my bills, and then the wholesaling was just extra.
Sure.
Then I went into rehabbing, and then of course what happened in 2007 and 8, right? So
Unfortunately, I do, my friend.
yeah, yeah, we all do, right? So I had about 12 projects I was rehabbing at the time. The market just completely collapsed in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And I had those properties, and I had, in the meantime, when I got busier with the real estate investing, I kind of had somebody helping me with the BPOs.
Sure.
I was still doing the comps and stuff, and I would be out in the neighborhood, so I'd take the photos, but they were completing the reports, and we kind of just split the money.
Sure.
But when the collapse happened, I was like, oh crap, I got to do something. So I took the BPOs back, and along the way, I had been getting calls from REO asset management companies saying, hey, will you list this property? Will you sell this property? And I was turning them all down because I was in the investing space. And I said,
Sure.
no, thanks. No, thanks. That's not what I do. Send me more BPOs. That's fine. But I'm not getting into the REO space. So I just started calling them. I started calling the asset management companies. At the time it was really bad. I remember my first conference. It was actually in REO conference, that is.
Yeah.
It was in Washington, D.C., right? And I really had nothing. Like, I had no money. I just went through a bankruptcy. And my other REO agent friends were like, you have to go to conferences. If you want to do REO, you have to go to conferences. So I drove down to the conference in DC and literally slept in my car. And
Wow,
I was, and then one of my friends, right, was like, he's sleeping in his car. Like, they all put together money to get me a hotel room, and I was like, oh my God, I've arrived. I got a hotel room. So so that was kind of the start
yeah.
of my REO thing. And
Sure.
And you mentioned 10 million a year for.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, man. It's like, how, so I think that this is super important for everybody that's listening, and as we're going to transition into lead gen, but like, how'd you go from zero to consistently doing 10 million plus a year after year after year after year? Because that's kind of an obstacle that people strive for and try to hit. And you just did it quickly. And so I'm always interested to learn, I think, 90+% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years. 90% of New Year's resolutions are done by the end of January. Some people figure out a blueprint or a map to success while others don't. And so I want you to just take a minute for a second and kind of share what your blueprint was. How'd you go from zero to just 10 million bang year after year after year after year? And how have you helped other people do that too?
Yeah, really what we did is, we just turned the REO thing into a machine. Like,
Yeah.
we had our inspectors, we had the admin, we had everything down to a science. And, we were doing, over 100 units a year, pretty consistently. And back then, the average sales price, was really low, compared
Sure.
to how it is now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we, but consistently year after year, we would do 100 units. And, I mean, really the key to, I think the key to any endeavor, when it, at least when it comes to real estate, is like systematizing and building, an ecosystem and a structure that, supports, you talk about it a lot, from going from a solopreneur to a business owner,
Yep.
and really that it's the same, whether you do REOs, whether you do short sales, whether you do luxury listings, whatever you do, you need something that feeds that funnel, and then something that, systematizes the whole thing.
Yep.
So you can just do it like a factory. And that's
So-
basically what I've done with BPOs and REO is exactly that. And, now I'm part of a national group called REO Alliance. And we all help each other and everything. I've got agents in different parts of the country, but really it comes down to, like we were talking about lead gen, it comes down to, where are you getting your leads? Are they vetted? Are they high intent? And, do you have a system for, I remember back in the day, right? So when I was wholesaling with Steve Cook, right?
Yep.
We had a penny saver newspaper that
Yep.
went out for free to all the different houses in the Baltimore area.
Sure.
And there would be ads in there, we buy houses, all the
Yeah.
Carlton Sheet stuff, right?
Yep.
But so I had an ad in there, and then he had an ad in there, and then another guy, Jose, I knew, had an ad in there, and literally whoever picked up the phone would get the deal.
Right.
And so
Funny how that works.
I did all kinds of funny stuff, like I added a dollar sign in front of the cash for houses.
Yep.
So it would be first. And then
Yeah.
like Steve added something else, so he would be first the next month. And we were constantly jockeying, but the whole deal was picking up the phone. And
That's right.
that's been the same with REO as well. I mean, if I see a number from Texas or California, I'm picking up the phone because it's probably an asset, and if you don't pick up, they're going to go to the next agent that they look up in the portal, and they're just going to get the deal.
Yeah.
So and that's one of the exciting things that we're doing now, and I know you want to get into it. As we created the system for realtors that gets high intent leads for low cost, and the system that we built, we answer all the calls. So literally for the agent, we answer all the calls, we dispute all the junk, so they're not getting renters, they're not getting title companies, insurance companies that want to work with them. They're getting buyers or sellers. And then really, closing the deal comes down to the agent, right? But if you can eliminate all that front end stuff where.
So this is what I wanted to, this is kind of what I want to get into, man, because like we've both been 20 plus years in the real estate space, and everybody kind of has a unique genius zone, something that they're really, really good at. And then we have a whole lot of things that we're not so good at. And what I've seen I've built 10 multi-million-dollar companies. I'm not saying, hey, look at me. I've had a lot of teams, a lot of employees. What I'm trying to say is that I know, even for myself, I know what I'm good at, and I know all the things that I'm not good at. And if I'm doing the things that I'm not good at, I'm not going to get the results that I'm trying to get. And this is one of the biggest things that I see realtors struggle with, because typically, not all salespeople are great marketers, and not all marketers are great salespeople. And there's like, for those that haven't been in business for a long time, we kind of think sales and marketing is the same, and they really couldn't be any different. Marketing is meant to create a response. That's it. That marketing is about reaching out to a population, trying to create an inbound response, and that is its own special technique in and of itself. Sales is being able to take that response and build trust, build rapport. It's much more people centric or people oriented than marketing is. And so what I see a lot in the realtor space is people that, I know we don't love the word salespeople, but I see people that are really good at interacting with other people. They're good at having the conversations. They're good at all that, but they struggle with the lead gen side. And if you don't have lead gen coming in, what do you have to do? I mean, you gotta make outbound calls. You gotta call for sale by owners. You gotta call expired listings. You gotta do all this stuff. And like, I get it. Like sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do. But number one, I know that 9.9 out of 10 people don't enjoy cold calling. And
Right.
that crazy 1% of you guys that do enjoy it, like it's still, I could ask anyone that does, the few that do enjoy it, what do you prefer more, calling out or somebody calling into you? And I think 100% of those are, you want to say, like, it would be a dream to be able to wake up in the morning and just have leads coming into me. And so one thing that I've known about you, Ed, for a lot, and one of the things I respect about you and your mind and how it works is that you're brilliant when it comes to the lead gen side. You figure things out that other people don't figure out. And you showed me what you've got going on and the amount of, and these aren't for REO listings. These are for traditional buyer and seller listings. And you're doing something different than anyone else is doing, and you're generating more leads than, I mean, I'm around some of the top producing realtors in this country, and what you're doing right now is different, man, and it's working at a higher level. When other people are struggling to get business and struggling to get leads, you're struggling to find people to fulfill the leads that you're like, you've got more leads than you can handle, and you're struggling to find people that you can actually trust to take these leads and close them. So
Yeah,
let's talk a little bit about that, man.
yeah, so like, and the biggest thing that you were talking about, right, is like most people do interruption marketing, you know? So what I mean by interruption marketing is, you know, somebody's scrolling on Facebook and then they see your ad.
Yeah.
Like that, or someone is you know, sitting in their car and they get a cold call from you. That's interruption marketing. And what I've found with it, can you get success with it? You can get success with it, but it takes a whole lot of man hours and manpower and labor, you know, in order to generate, say, one high intent lead. And instead, you know, what our group focuses on, and the group is called Top Tier Realtor, we focus on, you know, attraction marketing. We focus on, and the first lead vector that we've worked on is called, you know, LSA ads with Google, or local service ads. And you know, these leads are, you know, these leads are high intent. They're searching, they see you, they see your reviews, they click on it, they call you, and they're looking for you. They're looking for someone to solve their problem. And I mean, through these ads too, Jason, we're getting a lot of other different types of leads. We're getting, you know, estate sales. We're getting, you know, investors. We're getting, you know, distress sales, you know.
Sure.
But you know, we're getting a lot of those coming in. And like I said, with the system, you know, the advantage for me or for another agent, right? I'm good at interacting. Like you said, I'm good at interacting, good at you know, closing a listing, closing a sale, helping a buyer. But you know, I'm not great with, you know, all the technicals that go behind getting the lead to me. All I do is I get a text from my from the lead team saying, you know, this seller is looking to sell. Call them at this number. This is their email address. And then you take it from there. And if you have your own CRM, you can put it into there. But
so, talk to me. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but talk to me real quick, because like I'm one of the things that blew me away the most about what you're doing is you mentioned the word not motivated lead, but like high intent. You said high intent, and and I think one of the biggest, like, if people are looking to pay for leads or buy leads or whatever, you know, Zillow's been a producer of that, but no one seems to really, like, they all do it because they can't find anything better. But like, from what I have seen and from thousands of other realtors have said, you know, we would not consider them high intent leads. They're for the most part, they're tire kickers, or they're people that are just Googling on the internet and seeing what's going on. And so I'm not saying you can't make money with them. I'm saying that you got to go through a lot of them to get to the one that's good.
Right.
And when you showed me your system, I mean, that's why I wanted to do this. And that's why I wanted to get this out there and help other people. That there's a better way, a much better way. And what you showed me, it was night and day difference between the motivation factor between the LSA stuff and traditional Google or Zillow or whatever else. So can you kind of, when you
Yeah.
say high intent, man, talk a little bit about that, and talk maybe some of the difference between the quality of what you're generating versus paying Zillow.
Yeah, sure. So I'll share my screen real quick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And like say, so if we're looking Realtor in Baltimore, right?
Yep.
You have a realtor.com, you have the Google business page and everything. Zillow's here,
Yep.
right? But here, this is where all the LSA ads are. And
And
so,
that's where you're clicking first. I mean,
right,
that's that.
right. And like here it says Google screened, which basically just means that they verified your insurance, they verified your license, it's active. They verified the time that you've been in business, they verify your reviews. But here if you click down, again, it's all about what's the consumer going to do, right? Going
That's
back
right.
going back to the penny saver, right? They're going
That's
to
right.
call this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, or they may look at the reviews, right? They
Yeah,
may,
and well, yeah. What they're probably going to do is what I do. I mean, I'm going to look at the. I'm probably if the top one has good reviews, I'm going to call it. But you said something important earlier that I want to remind people is I'm probably going to call Garner and Company first because they're 5.0 with 122 reviews and they're the one that popped up first. So I'm probably going to call them. But if they don't answer the phone, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to go until somebody calls. So the other half of this is answering the dang phone when the phone rings.
right, exactly. And what we do, I can just go in here. Sorry, I got to search through my emails.
Yeah.
But here we have, this is what each person that's part of our network gets. They get a recording of every call, so they can listen to it. If they have a problem with it, they let us know. But every call is tracked and everything is tracked. And then basically, if it's a bona fide buyer or seller lead, that's passed on, that's sent via text message to you as the agent. And it will just say seller looking to sell. This is their address. This is, their name, their number, and their email address. And then basically that's it. And I mean, yeah, I mean, what we're finding with all that is, it's saving so much time. And not only that, we really know how my lead manager, Rex, and our whole team, we really know how to optimize, the ads and the counties that they're in, and, the counties that the agent wants to be in. We know how to optimize the ad, get the best picture up there, we help guide agents with the reviews too. So
Well, that's why this is so important, man, because like, again, I've been successful in business and you have too, from knowing what we're good at and staying in our lane. And, I've spent millions of dollars on Facebook ads over the years, but I don't have a damn clue how that's, like we hire an ad manager. We got to have 3-4 different people that we're paying to do. And I don't even do that as much anymore because it's so overwhelming. It's so much to keep track of. It's so much to learn. Like I don't personally have a clue. I have people on our team that understand it, but like, you've taken all that burden away of having to understand how it works, having to understand how to monitor the ads and the cost per click and the cost per lead and the cost per closing and all those. Like, you spent the last years figuring all that out so that other people don't have to. And I think that's what was most brilliant about like what you originally created for yourself. And now that you've got so many other realtors that are a part of it and benefiting from it, is that they don't have to figure all that out. Like we don't have to figure
Right.
all that out and spend the next 5 years trying to figure out algorithms and how all that stuff works. Like what I wanted, if I'm an agent, a realtor that's trying to level up my business, and I can have leads that are delivered to me like that every day, that have the name, the phone number, exactly what they're trying to do, and all I have to do is contact them and say, hey, I saw that you were looking to have a conversation or whatever. Man, that is infinitely easier than
Right.
calling expireds and FISBOs and
Right.
I mean, I just like,
And one of the benefits of our system too that I want to mention is that you're paying per lead with LSA ads. So you
and you're
know,
not paying for the ones that aren't good.
right, you can dispute all the ones that are not good and we can help you with that. But also you're not paying per click or impression. Like with Facebook ads, the thing that was frustrating for me for Facebook ads and for Google ads is that I'm paying for all these impressions and clicks and
No matter what.
I'm
Yep.
getting nothing.
Yep.
And some people drop, big money on Google ads. I mean, I know some local investors that are spending 20, 30 grand a month on Google ads. And they're paying per click. With this, you're paying per lead. And you can turn that's one thing too with us. We don't control your payment process. So you have an account with Google. So you can turn your ads on and off at any time. If you're getting too many leads, and you just need to stop, you're getting too much, and you need to get caught up. You can
Right.
you can pause it, you can pause it and then unpause it later. You can adjust your budget. All that's completely transparent with our system. So
So how much, I mean, I know there's not a perfect science number, but like what's a lead cost? And what I love that you said the most about that is different from everything else is like, we're paying sometimes hundreds of dollars for leads, and some are good and some aren't, but I'm paying for them regardless. And one of the coolest things about what you have done and what you create is that, like, if the lead isn't good, I don't have to pay for it. Like, that's nuts. So I'm basically only paying for good leads. Okay, great. But what's a good lead cost me? Is it $1,000? Like, what does a good lead cost, knowing that I can refund all the ones that aren't good?
right. So through my experience across about 27 different markets, right? The average cost, if you're in a rural area, it's going to be cheaper. So it's going to be, $14, $15 a lead. If you're in, New York City, it's going to be 65, 85, maybe even. Los Angeles, same type of thing. But like for me, Baltimore, Maryland area,
Yeah.
that area, average across all 27 accounts, I'm averaging about $32 a lead. So
I mean, that's incredible, man. I mean, that seriously is nuts.
right,
And to know that, I mean, to know that, like, even if you're kind of beginning and you're trying to ramp up your business, you don't need to spend $3,000 a month in Zillow leads to get a couple closings. $30 a lead, and I don't have to pay for the bad ones, and I can turn it on and off depending on the volume that I want to handle. Man, I just like, this is why I was so excited about this, because it's not something that's new, that's unproven. It's already working. You've got it set up and running in a lot of different markets across the country. You're
right,
getting results for people big time. And to me, if I never have to cold call again or do any of that again, and all I have to do is take leads of people who are already expressing interest, it's an absolute game changer, man. I mean, I hope every single realtor that's listening to this is like ready to jump and dive in, because like, this is how you can scale your business. This is how you can grow your business. And even if you're already doing 10 million a year and you're trying to get to 20, we have to
right,
have sources of lead gen. We have to have ways to bring in new kinds of business. We have to be ahead of our competition. And you're ahead of your competition, man. You're ahead of the curve. And I mean, every real estate office in the country is making people do phone duty and calling expires, calling FISBOs, doing all this kind of stuff. And it's like, man, I want to hit the ground running. I want to do deals now. I don't want to have to do it the
right,
hard way. Like, I want to talk to some sellers now. Um,
right. And the conversion rates on these are very good. Like I think for the typical internet lead for a real estate agent, the conversion rates, are probably somewhere between 4 or 5%. I mean, if you're lucky. I mean,
sure.
there's some that are even lower. And
I
like
was to
with
say, I've heard less than that for some.
Yeah, with the LSA ads, I mean, it's up in the teens, up into the 20s.
Wow.
I mean, it really depends
Wow.
on, you know, it depends on the person closing
Sure.
it.
Like, yeah. You still got to work them, right? Yeah. I
Right,
mean,
right.
you still have to call them and answer your phone, like you said, but you've got a lead source that's significantly cheaper with a 10 to 20 times higher closing rate. Like this is where it's at, man. This is where people need to be. So how does it work? Like, say I'm listening to this right now, and I want to be part of it. I want to test it out. I want to give it a shot. I want to stick my foot in and see how this works. What do I do?
Yeah, sure. So I'll share my screen again.
Yeah,
So basically, if you just go to our site, toptierrealtor.com, um, basically, you know, you click this link, sign up. It takes you right to this form. You fill out all your information. Basically, um, we will ask for your photo and your and your insurance and your license, actual
sure. We have
copy
to.
of
Yeah,
everything. But you know, here we're like here it says choose your primary, you know, service areas, cities or counties. Typically, you know, per agent, we want like some agents are licensed in multiple states, right? So
sure.
that's fine. You would just want to put, you know, if you're licensed in
Your
like
primary service area. Yeah,
yeah, I'm licensed in Pennsylvania. I cover Philadelphia, so I put that for PA, and then for Maryland, I'll cover Baltimore or whatever. But
sure.
you pick basically two to three counties or areas that you want to cover. My lead team, you know, will be in touch with you on setting up the account, getting your documents in order and everything. But basically, yeah, you just go right over to the site and click sign up. Right now it's completely free to sign up. And now you're gonna say that's crazy. You know, how does that work? But um, basically how I would make money in the system is we have a marketing agreement with our agents. Basically, they pick two or three counties and they allow me to get all the leads outside of those counties. So really
Yeah.
it's a win-win, right? They only pay for the Google ad spend. And that's handled directly with Google. We have a video, we show you exactly how to handle that and set your budget. But basically
You're not making money off their ad. You're not doing any of that. I mean, you're just completely transparent, transferring leads to them. What's in it for you is that you're able to market outside of the areas that they want to work anyway and do some lead gen outside of there.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm referring leads out in the areas that they're not covering. So that's basically how I profit from the model.
Yep. And so, like, is there an ad? I know that you're going to start charging this for this going forward at some point. It's free right now, so I would encourage everybody get in when you can, you know, get in there now while you can. But what? So, like, is there a minimum ad spend? Is there a number I have to spend? You know, maybe I only have $500 a month that I want to start with because I'm just getting going, or maybe I'm an
Sure.
experienced agent and I have $5,000 a month that I want to spend. How does that work?
Yeah, so each account is different in that it caps it out at a certain amount. So you can spend like for my personal LSA account, I can spend up to like $1,300 a week. But
Okay.
starting out, I just did like $95 a week. So
Yeah.
you can go as low or as high as you want in between there.
Get some closings,
Right.
take part of the money from your closings, add it up a little bit week over week, month over month, and grow your business. Yeah, I love
Right,
it.
right, exactly. So yeah, it really you can set the budget anywhere from I think the lowest is 65, highest 1,500 or something like that.
Sure. Okay.
And that's weekly. So if you did say
Doable.
if you did 95, you know, you might get three leads a week, you
Yep.
know, and then maybe three leads a week, 12 a month. Um Probably would translate into one or two closings a month out of those leads, and then if you nurture those, then you know
Yeah.
you build it up.
Your closing ratio is going to be even higher.
Right, right.
I love it, man. You also mentioned that you started a community to help realtors grow, and I think that that's super important too. Like, okay, great, I understand this, but like, what happens when I want to maximize it? I want to make it better. I want to learn. Like, you shared with me the other day that you were creating a community where agents of any capacity can come, and there's no charge for it. It's just a community of people that are sharing what's working best lead gen wise. What are scripts that are working? What are listing presentation conversions? Like all things realtor, all things real estate. Do you mind sharing that with everybody so that everybody that's listening can become a part of that, can join it, can grow from it, can benefit from it?
Yeah, sure. So I'll share my
Yeah, man.
screen again. But yeah, so we have a Facebook page, which is different than the group, right?
Yeah.
But we have this yeah, I just started this this group basically. So if you become part of the system or whatever, you can come in here and ask questions. We're gonna have like video walkthroughs of
Love it,
your
man.
ad account.
So
That's
like
like,
a super cool community, a resource, a place that people are talking about how to grow their real estate business. I love it.
right. And we're gonna have coming soon, we're gonna have, we're also gonna have another lead vector, which is gonna be YouTube, but it's probably 6 months down the line. But
Sure.
the LSA thing is live and active and going really well.
So they can go, is it www.toptierrealtor.com? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the website. And we'll have a link to the group on here soon. And then the group, if you just search out Top Tier Realtor on Facebook, you'll find it.
This is a no-brainer, man. I hope that everybody that's listening is going there right now and filling out. I mean, go there right now and fill out the form. You
Right.
can control your own ad spend. The ad spend isn't going to him; it's going directly to Google. But their whole team's going to help you set it up and monetize it. I don't know any least barrier of entry, higher result thing that I've seen anywhere in the country, lead gen wise for realtors right now. Damn, dude, that's awesome. I'm so cool. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you for sharing. Thanks for spending some time. Again, I hope every single person that's listening is going to toptierrealtor.com and sign up there. Join the community. That's where you're able to interact. That's where you're able to learn. That's where you're able to perfect your model and get better. So do that too. But thank you guys for listening. Ed, man, thank you for sharing. You're a genius with this stuff. And I know that what you're passionate about more than anything is positively impacting people's lives, changing people's lives in a positive way. And you're doing that every day, brother, man. I'm happy to be your friend. I'm glad we were able to do this, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.